Hi everybody, it's Coffee with Lorelei number 5. So this is more DNRS questions about ITS and retraining. And as always, I'm so honored that you're here with me, and thank you for joining me, and thank you for honoring me with your questions. I always like to start off with saying that I'm not a DNRS coach. I'm not a registered clinical counselor. I'm answering these questions merely from my experience as a DNRS retrainer and purely from my journey. So please take what you find useful and feel free to leave the rest. And as always with this Q&A kind of format, I might have misunderstood your question, or you may be misinterpreting the snare that I have in my head. So please take my answers with a grain of salt. And if you have a different view or a different opinion than my answer, I'd love to hear from you. I'm always eager to learn about other people's perspectives and other people's views of the elephant. Without further ado, we're going to get started. So this is a fairly long question, and I'm going to read it out. It says, so in your talk, you said, listen to your body. What is it telling you? Do you need rest or self-compassion? I believe this. I don't always think I always practice it. How can I balance this with training my brain not to lie down, as this is my main it? And the accompanying its, which are not necessarily fatigue. My primary training has been on this. I've had a lot of coaching on this from different coaches with different perspectives. I know, as with your bicycling example, is just knowing and believing it's pillar number 1. And I always know everything is pillar 1. I've never doubted that. To be more clear, how do you balance listening to your body while not listening to your its? Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so really good question. And I actually found that this was one of the trickiest things for me in my journey, is how do you stay within your training zone without focusing on your its? And I think for me, it's always saying, okay, you know what? As long as you label the it as a result of your limbic system impairment, and you take all the fear and worry and stress out of it, then you're fine. And as long as you're catching your pops and your negative core beliefs, your physiology will catch up. And so let's say that day, if you're trying to push for me, it was my morning nap time, my morning spa time. I would say, okay, you know what? I'm having some its. They're purely from my limbic system impairment. I will get better. Make sure you take away all the fear and worry about it. Don't catastrophize it. Don't sort of read into that, because you've had an it this day and you didn't have it yesterday, that you're going backwards. There's ebb and flow in recovery, and everybody's journey is sort of all over the place. So just take all the fear and worry about the it, okay? And you just say, you know what? I just need to keep on catching my core beliefs that are not serving me, and catching my pops. And then I would do usually a double mini round if I had a lot of its. And if the its were still there, I would go lie down. And sometimes what happened is that, well, actually often what happened was the rounds would take the its down or eliminate them, and so that I could be up and about for another hour or two. Not always. And then I would go and take my small time or my lie down then. Sometimes some music or just a change of scenery, going to nature, would remove the its. Sometimes laughter yoga was really helpful. That I would sort of give me some more energy and reinforce that the its were a result of a brain neurochemistry sort of imbalance because of my limbic system impairment. So I think it's tricky. Because it's tricky because you don't want to make sure that you're not focusing on your its in a limbic way, more of in a self-care, self-compassion. Let's wait for my physiology to catch up. Sometimes, however, sometimes, because it changes all the time. Sometimes, however, I just say, you know what, I'm getting some its. I really think that let's see if I can change it up. Because I bet you my limbic system has inserted an old record, and and it's playing this old physiology. Let's go outside for a while. Let's change scenery. Let's put some music on, and let's do a round, and let's see if we can get my physiology to change. So, and eventually over time for me, I was able to eliminate my morning nap time and then push my afternoon nap till later, shorten my afternoon nap, be active in the evenings. Because often when I had a lot of its, I would sort of, after dinner, I'd rest and watch TV or, listen to music and just, sort of have a very calm and quiet evening. So then I'd start adding evening activities, and then I actually eliminated my afternoon nap time altogether. So it was wiggly. Like sometimes I would have to add it, and then sometimes I'd take it away, but it was sort of this overall knowingness that I could do this. And like 2 weeks ago, I could walk a kilometer, and this week I can only walk 500 meters. Did my physiology change? From a limbic perspective, probably. My limbic system was activated. Maybe there was some stress in the house. Maybe something happened. But my overall physiology, like my muscle strength and, my blood pressure its and stuff like that, it could do a kilometer last week. So 2 weeks, so this week, the physiology is still there. It's just that for some reason, some of my limbic system patterns have been activated. And can I deactivate them? So I do all my tools. And if I couldn't, then I thought, well, you know what? Guess I need to go lie down. So it's very tricky, and I really appreciate you sharing this with me. I think a lot of people find this tricky about noticing your its, but not noticing them, or not focusing on them, but noticing them in okay, this is what do I need to do? Self-compassion and stay in my self-care kind of mindset, and just kind of be calm and playful about it and just keep on going. So I think that's probably all I can say about that. So I hope that's helpful. If you need further clarification, just please message me, okay? So the next question is how did you know that you had worked through all the layers, that there were no more surprises from limby, that limby had truly calmed down, that there were no more ebbs, old or new, its, and how are you completely confident that you were totally recovered? Well, I didn't. I mean, for the first few months, I didn't know. And limby is funny. We all have limbic systems. We're going to have them all our lives. And so there's always the possibility that the limbic system can kick up a storm again. But to sort of minimize it and make sure you have your tool bags. So I think I was it-free sort of November of 2020, at the end of November, but I didn't really announce it to everybody till January because I wanted to make sure. So, and then I had often and I do get an it every now and then, sometimes a few times a week, sometimes for a few hours. And I just think, well, you know what? Normal people get its. I'm not identifying with that old me anymore. Normal people get its. And maybe I didn't sleep well. Maybe I was excited because, my son's graduating from high school and I'm so happy and I can't sleep. I don't identify with being that old person anymore. So its are just like normal. Normal people get it. So, and then, but also I know that a few retrainers that have rewired have told me that when they announced to everybody that they were fully rewired, that they went through an ebb. So I wasn't expecting it, but I wasn't surprised when it happened. So, because I started popping about being rewired and recovered. It's like about, all the things I was supposed to do and be. So, and that, went away for after a week or two. But it's just funny that, the limbic system is there for a reason, and neuroplasticity can go backwards a little bit, but if you're being mindful and you're noticing that, are you going back to old habits and old core beliefs and sort of old ways of living your life after you've sort of rewired, then old its can pop back up because you're going back to old patterns. Not dangerous, just notice and switch back. So I think I've mentioned this before. I'm a lifelong retrainer. There's always something new to learn, and I'm always excited to learn more things and evolve and learn about core beliefs that perhaps are really buried deeply that I haven't really noticed that I would like to work on, past negative conditionings. So I really think that retraining is a lifelong process, and and I'm okay with that. It's who I want to be. I'm becoming, I'm transforming, and it's wonderful, and I love learning. So the next question is you mentioned reciting your new core beliefs. Can you share some of your new core beliefs? So all of my core beliefs, my new core beliefs, are actually embedded in all my talks. And I have a 32-month DNRS anniversary blog on the forum. I have a recovery blog, and then of course I have my celebrations talk, which I did actually type out, so you can actually read my recovery talk. And so all of my new core beliefs are actually already in there. It usually starts off with, affirmations like I am safe, I am so much more than enough, I have all the time and resources I need to be and do all that I'm meant to be and do. I'm not responsible for anyone else but me. I am calm and centered, and if I get knocked off center, I can come back to middle. Like, those are literally my core beliefs or my new affirmations, and I just recite them from beginning to end. And I've written them out in the 32-month anniversary blog as well. So when you start hearing me do my affirmations, those are my core beliefs. If you have some trouble picking them all out, but I have, they are embedded in this talk and all my Coffee with Lorelei recordings. So but if you have trouble with finding them, just message me and I'll cut and paste where I've already written them out. And I think also they're my core beliefs and they're opposites that work for me. And I think it's very important for retrainers to actually, it's the journey, is to figure out which of your core beliefs don't serve you and what conditionings do you have. And so I know that it's helpful to have a template, like, these are Lorelei's core beliefs, and, which ones of these do I want, and which I absolutely understand because you need a starting place. But, you will find them. If you have the intention to find them and become aware of them, you will find them. So I'm going to leave that and go to the next question. It says, just to clarify, when you do around now, if not triggered, you start at the state you're choosing and then you go into a past memory and future visualization. Yes and no. So yes, most of the time now I'm not triggered. But if I'm working on a situation where I am being triggered, let's say I'm thinking of posting a YouTube video or doing a celebrations talk, then I can think about the activity and notice if my body gives me any anxiety or stress, and then I'll go into a round of, what I've spoken in the past and doing a future of doing something that is giving me some anxiety. But most of the time, no, I don't have any triggers, and I don't have anything on my horizon that I think I'm being slightly triggered by. So yes, I go straight into my core beliefs and my new affirmations. So I usually go right into, I choose to be awake. I choose to be here now. I choose to be aware. I choose to be grateful. And I choose to be calm. And I choose to, live according to my true values. And so that starts off. It reminds me, and then I go into usually a mindful moment where I'm being grateful for the things that are around me, nature, trees, butterflies, my home, my family, my friends, and all the things that happened today, that day. And then if I want to be grateful for the future, or grateful for the past, or something that I'm dreaming about, something that just makes me happy, then I'll do maybe a past memory or a future about something that makes me happy or even more grateful. But just really being mindful, and sometimes I'll do a meditation instead because I want to. Sometimes I'll do a gratitude practice where I'll just go through all the things I'm grateful for and why. And so it really depends on my mood. So, but when you can do whatever you want as whatever, whoever you want to be and how you want to live your life. And I just want to be awake, and I want to notice. I don't want to be caught up in the limbic sort of past and future oscillating. I want to be here now, and I want to notice life, and I want to be grateful, and I want to be happy, and I want to live my life. Okay, so that's what I do there. Okay, so did you ever consider other programs since you had a fairly long journey, or did you know DNRS would carry you through? So I think I did mention on one of the previous coffees that I did do the Gupta program. I started off with the Gupta program. It's got quite a sort of research and science base to kind of convince my pillar one that this was going to be the answer. And the Gupta program has a fair amount of research. DNRS program does not have a lot of research, so I sort of delved into the Gupta program first, but I just found that the DNRS program was a better fit for me. I have gone back to the Meaning of Life app by Ashok Gupta, which I've talked about in a previous coffee, that you could download that app for free, and I'm sort of using that as my rewired, becoming, transforming journey. So I like the meditations and the lessons there. Meditations, I like doing meditation. I did do heart math for a while, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about heart math. It's this program here. So I think, but the majority, and my counselor is fantastic. I love my counselor, and I found that really helpful for me. And of course, linking with the community, that was really important, because some days, everybody has ebbs, and when you're retraining for a long time, you need that support. It makes it all manageable, the off days. So, but definitely, I would attribute DNRS to about 80% of my recovery. The other pieces being meditation, counseling, the Gupta program, and reading to sort of encase pillar 1. Okay, so that's that question. How did you go about asking for physical support? Say, asking to have my son picked up from school without constantly triggering limby. People tend not to understand the concept that we can do things one day but not the next. Do you have any advice around removing fear or shame about fatigue its? Super good question. And thank you for sharing. So I think I was very fortunate in that my family and friends were super supportive and understanding, and I felt that I could share, that some days I would be better, some days I would not. And they were completely understanding and knew that I was not a person who actually was used to asking for help. And so I don't know if you can, if it's in your training zone to talk to these people that about the fact that you will have days where you need help and days that are better. And it's part of it. It's part of the process. It's part of the is to have good days and bad days. And I know it's difficult because, when we get and especially if they're stronger and more distressing that it's hard not to get the limbic system triggered by the So, and also so it goes back to my two opposites. I am safe and I am more than good enough. And because you may need a little help, it doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means that you need a little help, and somebody may need a little help from you down the road. We're all here to help each other. So I think that a lot of self-care, a lot of self-love, a lot of self-appreciation, and embracing the fact that you are worthy even if you need a little help. And if people don't give you that back, it's their problem. It's that whole, my laughter yoga exercise, me, not me, mine, not mine. They may have their own limbic system telling them that they're not worthy and that you have to do to be worthy, and not just be. And, all the things that you already do, you probably don't even notice. And I know I didn't appreciate all the things that I already was and all the things that I did. So I think that if you work on the second opposite of that, you're good enough, and it doesn't matter what people think, that might be helpful. And asking for some, and hopefully getting it into your training zone that you can do a little sharing, and maybe they'll be helped by your honesty and your view of the limbic system. So I'm gonna leave that question now. And this is the last one I'm going to do in this Coffee with Lorelei, is how did you balance calm with the adrenaline that joy can often bring? Super good question. Okay. So I did do the heart math program for a while. It looks like this. And there is very well researched heart math. It's got books with it, and there's heart math, mini coherence visualizations on YouTube. And if you're interested, you can message me, or maybe I'll post a couple in the somewhere on the forum, or either on a YouTube video if I decide to post this. But if you look up depletion to renewal grid heart math, it looks like this. And so it's just a quadrant, and it's called the depletion to renewal ANS activation grid. And you'll see that on one side, this side is renewing emotions, and this side is depleting emotions. And on this top half is sympathetic activation, and this bottom half is parasympathetic activation. So rounds are renewing and parasympathetic. So they're in this quadrant, which is where you want to be. And, you know, there is activities that are depleting, and depleting sympathetic and depleting parasympathetic. And there's activities that are renewing, which are sympathetic and parasympathetic. So laughter yoga can be slightly sympathetic, but it's renewing. And rounds and meditation and heart math is renewing, but parasympathetic. So this person is asking about activities that increase joy, but are slightly sympathetic activating. So great question, and that's particularly why when you do laughter yoga, there is either a grounding dance after, or breathing to bring your body back into parasympathetic mode. So usually after laughter yoga, you can dance to get back into your body. You could do meditation, or I do breathing and a guided visualization on the laughter yoga sessions that I lead. So you can do any of those, because if you're really excited about doing something, let's say you've got a kayaking trip booked, or you're going to Disneyland with your kids. I mean, of course you're excited. It's wonderful. And so it's not dangerous to have joy with adrenaline. It's part of life. And isn't it wonderful? Like, let's say your daughter was getting married. How wonderful, right? Of course you're excited. But you can shake off, shaking dance, like you can shake off, and I actually shake and do a little dance to get the adrenaline out. You can do havening, so you can brush your arms down. I've showed it before, where you're brushing your arms down your body to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, and breathing. Meditation is helpful to activate the parasympathetic nervous system again. And I think those are the ones I usually use: meditation, dancing, shaking it off, and havening, and rounds, of course. Okay, so I think that's all the questions about ITS and retraining. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for listening. And let's just finish off with a little gratitude. So I invite you to sit down and close your eyes and take a deep breath. And just think about some things that you'd like to be grateful for. And think about your day. Think about the sun outside, and the birds singing, butterflies and dragonflies. Think about your family or your friends. Thank you for all that we have in this moment. Who we are, what we can do, and who we can be. You can imagine the sun shining you from head to toe, filling you with this beautiful light. And filling every cell of your body with love and laughter. Happiness and joy. Gratitude. gratitude and peace. It's a brand new day, and a brand new you, and a brand new life. And you have the freedom to choose. And you can take a deep breath and open your eyes. Thank you so much for being with me. Have a great day.